Hi, Susan. Oh, I can't hear you. Can't hear you at all, Susan.
Yep, gotcha.
Oh, there you go. How are you?
I literally got here.
Oh, hi, Janice.
So, the three of us may be it for a while until Mary Jo can get here around 6:15, because Jeanette said she wasn't sure whether or not she could make the meeting.
Okay.
So thank you both. Jessica, I saw that you just sent me the financial report.
I
So
meant to do that earlier. I'm sorry.
not to worry. And Janice, thank you for reading the chief's paragraph and making sure she gave you the correct information.
I could see it go both ways. So.
Yeah.
If anybody's sent any emails out, I just got back from Cooley Dickinson minutes ago, literally. And
Oh my goodness. Well,
I haven't had time to pick up my email.
Thanks a lot for coming, Janice, because I know you've been rushed, but this gives us a quorum.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I got stuck at the top of my driveway backing in.
Oh.
No,
So that took 5 minutes.
this last storm was enough to make you go bonkers.
I know. I realized today the post office is not delivering my mail.
Oh, no.
And our mailbox is not shoveled out, so they wouldn't anyway.
Well, that's why they're not doing it. And in the past, we used to get a message stuck in our box that said, shovel out so we can reach your mailbox. But that was in the old days when we had our own mail deliverer.
I really kind of miss having our own mail. I don't have delivered mail, but I hear a lot of people complain now that Amherst has taken it over.
Yeah. Yeah, it was better when we had our own person. Okay, so I think we're going to call this thing together let me see, we're at 5:34.
Oh, I'm trying to turn the heat on in my office.
Well, that was a good idea.
Well, I haven't done it yet.
Oh, okay, we'll do it. So when you're more comfortable.
I need to get out of my chair to do it. Oh, come on. I can do it this way.
Oh, we have a feline visitor.
Yes. I'll probably be doing that a half a dozen times.
So the first item on the agenda is the minutes. Does anybody have any changes they need to make in the minutes?
Not for me.
Janice, I think I made the corrections that you sent me.
I don't know.
I will double check after we approve the minutes.
I think it was only punctuation and a grammar, subject, verb, noun, verb, agreement thing. And I think you got it. All right, now I can turn on my heater.
So is there a motion to approve the minutes of January 8th?
I don't have them in front of me. I'm sorry.
I don't either. But I put up a motion to approve the minutes for the January 8th.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
3 seconds, because I know I at least looked at them.
I know you did. And you sent corrections, and there weren't a lot. So we have a motion made and seconded. Let's have a vote. Let's see. Janice?
Oh, great. Sorry, I'm still trying to get my head in place.
I understand.
Gray, aye.
Makepeace, aye.
Millinger, aye. Thank you. Jessica? How about the financial report?
So the financials for January, hold on, let me pull them up. Um, oh, darn it. Hold on a second. I should have had them opened.
No problem.
So our balance before our previous balance was $2,498.16, in which the foot care by nurses bill was $415, and we received $55 for donations for that month. So it ends up being $2,083.16 is our new balance. There was I'm not really quite sure what happened, but we got a email from the foot care by nurses saying that we didn't pay the the November bill, I think it was. Or was it January? We didn't have it in January. So it was the December bill was still outstanding. I did finally, after emailing the accountant for a week, she found that neither our foot care by nurses bill or the mass MOCA or the mass COA dues were paid. So she just put those in for payment on Tuesday.
Okay. Thank you
I'm
very
not
much.
I'm not sure how she missed them. She didn't explain anything, just said she looked them up and said they weren't paid yet. So
Well, thank you very much for pursuing that because I know that's been kind of a pain.
yeah, I don't understand where the disconnect was on that.
I know because
So,
Gail's actually pretty good, I think.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, but they're paid now.
Good,
Um, I was going to email Vanessa from the foot care by nurses and let her know. I just got word yesterday that they were getting paid.
good. Okay.
So at least she knows that the money is on the way.
Yeah. That's definitely good. And I guess I should probably send the MCOA people a little note saying that it's on the way.
Yeah, the payment I think went out Tuesday, she said.
Okay.
So, but I did see Miss Gomberg's I call her Miss Gomberg because I grew up with her daughter, Susan Gomberg's um email saying that 300 and something dollars came in today at the foot care clinic,
Yes.
which is a really nice amount. 348. What was it? I don't remember the exact total.
Yeah, I don't.
Um,
Well, and also I got the mail at the last minute and ran down and gave the bill to Susan as she was pulling out. So
oh, okay.
I'm not sure whether she will have that figure. Um,
She told me $342 came in today.
okay.
So our normal bills are about 400 and something. So that's a really good chunk of change.
It is a good chunk of change. A piece of it was me. It was one of my foot care days, and I gave a big donation. And
Oh,
somebody else was paying somebody who had been at the last month but didn't have a lot of money to give last month had
okay.
also sent in a good size check for 2 months.
Okay.
So we just have to make sure to keep it up.
Right. Let's
And
hope.
on this note, if I haven't said this before, one of our spring responsibilities is to find a replacement for Susan because she's quitting as of May.
Right.
So that puts pressure on us to get more people to join us to take on some of these tasks. Although Susan's no longer a member of the COA, so we can get somebody who's not a member to take on the task.
Right.
Somebody who'd like something to do, once a month, and no meetings to go to. Okay. So thank you very much for that report. Let's see. You were going to talking about requesting an increase in the town budget line. Where are we on
So
that?
I did talk to Gabe, the town administrator, and she said that we would have to really look at our own budget first We don't really have a budget. We never really got a formal budget in. But she was, when I was talking to her, we were looking at some of the expenses, and he said that we're donating a lot of our money and then we're asking for more money, which seems odd. Um, she said that, if we can not donate as much money, then
Mhm.
we would have more money. But right now we're donating a third of our grant, um, and not to co-sponsor things. And she said that if we cut back on that, then we would have more money. And plus with the foot care, um, she said to put in a budget request, we have to have line by line items of what we'd spend it on. We couldn't just say, well, it would have to be, you know, like to do like the newsletter or something of
Yep.
that sort.
Yep.
So if we wanted to go move forward with that, we would have to come up with like exact reasons that we would want to use the extra money.
Yes. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm thinking that if we get the grant,
Mhm.
that the Fork COAs and Life Path have, and the Village Neighbors have applied for,
Yeah,
we will be asked to do extra things for that. And one
right.
of them, I think, will be to do more frequent newsletters. Janice has pointed out to me that we don't have to have an 8 or 12-page newsletter. We used to
Right.
have a 4-page newsletter that we put out ourselves
Mhm.
because that was doable.
Right.
And we need to think about, I depending on what comes of the grant proposal, we need to think about more frequent small issues.
Right.
And
It
again,
also said like
full
with
problem.
donating like the $3,000 to the library for the fitness classes. He said that if we could find and ask like how many are actually
Over 6,
over 65 that are using it, then we could say, well, we're going to donate an X amount of portion for it and not the whole thing if we wanted to cut back on that as well. If that was something, if we're looking to save a little bit of money.
that's a good idea. I'm not sure how easy it will be to get Marianne to give us those kinds of figures, but
Okay.
say it's worth pursuing.
But
Given
there's
the
also
time
there's
today,
also, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's also a recreation department that could go in and maybe fund it half and half at the same time, because there's a recreation department too that 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 counts as recreation as well. So
yeah. However, I have to say, I've been looking. Okay, I spent a considerable part of my afternoon screwing around with and finally having some success with the report format that we use for what used to be the Executive Office of Elder Affairs and is now called AGE, and it's of so that's Aging and Independence.
mhm.
And I don't know whether they're calling themselves the Executive Office of Aging and Independence, but I think so. Anyway, I've been looking at their report and I found two interesting things. One is that most COAs get the bulk of their money from their towns,
Oh,
that the chunk that comes from the state is less than 10% often.
oh wow.
Yeah. But some of these organizations are big ones that have senior
Mhm.
centers with paid staff. And we
Right.
have, our paid staff are people that we have to count, like the nurses and the nurse and the PE, the fitness instructors, those are
Mhm.
paid staff. So, but we do need to think about what the town could maybe consider giving us. And I think presenting what the general picture for COAs would be important.
Right.
And they break it down and they tell you what some of the smaller COAs pay and get. But what I started out to say is that a big chunk of what the COAs do is fitness related.
Okay.
So we can emphasize that. I think
Mhm.
we could demonstrate, that most of the money for the fitness classes is going to people who are over 60.
Right.
That would be important. I
Right.
agree. But the fact that they're run from 9 to 10 o'clock on a weekday morning suggests that they're not they're mostly probably are retired, I would say,
Right.
in this
Right.
age. Younger women are going to be working mostly.
Right.
But that's definitely something that needs to be pursued. The other thing that I was thinking about was that we need a dedicated space. It's really not satisfactory to have a room in town hall that we have to share with various and assorted. We have to share at election time. We have
Hmm.
to share when people are having meetings there. Um, and I was wondering, and actually somebody was talking to me about this. Wendell turned their former library into a senior center.
Yep.
And so I think I'm going to go in and talk to Gabe about, what would be the possibility of us getting the library as a senior center. Because if we had a dedicated space that was set up with coffee pot and teapot and chairs, comfortable chairs, and people could actually get used to going to it and finding it a comfortable space to meet and talk with people.
Right.
Of course, the big expense there would be we really would need to have running water and plumbing, toilets, not, not composting toilets.
Right.
But I think it's time to start thinking about that and talking with people about that so they get used to the idea. If we
Right.
can have a senior center from their old library, why couldn't we?
Right.
So things to think about.
She was also the other thing she was telling me, she lives in Gabe lives in New Salem.
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling me that there's council on aging. They even do like bus trips and stuff. Like they have a you know, and I wonder if we could start thinking of other things that we could do besides just you know, like maybe like a pizza night, or I know that like, a lot of people still work, at
Yeah.
you don't have a choice. But if we did something maybe early evening, once the days get longer, of course, not now, because people don't like to drive at night. But if we could get maybe people get out that can't make the community lunch because they're working, or it's just not convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, Janice will remember that Marianne tried that and didn't get much response. But again, we need to build up. We need to build up responsiveness.
right, right,
And I'm hoping that if we get the grant, we'll be able. There are a heck of a lot of Shutesbury people who are busy as village neighbors and do things for village neighbors, and
hmm,
get some of those folks doing things for us. That would be one way to sort of try to build up a constituency.
right, right.
So, but I think that's a good. I think the idea of thinking of new kinds of things to do at different times of the week and day is really good.
Yeah, I think that we could. Well, like we would need more members too to kind of shoulder that as well.
Yep.
Someone that would actively be able to, if they were to have, let's say we had a coffee hour or something, someone that would be able to do that,
Yep.
set it up, as well as, I think that's the one thing that holds us back right now, is that we don't have the members.
I think you're right. But it's kind of a vicious circle. If we did more, we would attract more people. But
Right.
so we need more people to support to come out to it.
Right. Exactly.
We were talking about this today because I came early and to my foot appointment. And Susan was talking about how the Vinskys had a coffee hour. There's a sign about Monday coffees that's still behind the sofa in the senior lounge.
Oh, wow.
And Susan went once, and they were really excited to see her. And they said that she was like one of the few people that had ever come to their coffee hour. Of course, it turns out they
Wow.
did have coffee or tea at the coffee hour. And
Hmm.
you'd like to have something, some nice munchie along with coffee. But
Right.
so that's our getting numbers for staffing and volunteering, and also for showing up at events. So I'm going to try to get this into the minutes, and I hope I'm successful. So the grant proposal update. So have we said all that needs to be said about increase in the,
I think so. If we can come up with some line items that we want to, you know, we're more than welcome to ask, as long as we can have, you know, some line items of what we want to use it for.
okay.
And it could be, you know, coffee hour, or, you know, even if it, you know, whatever.
Yep. Yep.
Travis, can you shut her up, please? My dog's barking at us.
Oh, well. So we'll need to keep talking about that. And and I know Dave said we'll need to go to the finance committee,
Mhm.
and maybe it's too late to do anything this year, but we can build up a case for next year.
Right.
Okay, so the grant proposal update, I don't have one. It got sent in and got turned in at good time, and it looked good to me. So I think we have a good chance of getting it, but I think sometime early March, we're going to find out if we got the grant proposal, because that's going to be some new programming that will attract people, and also some things to spend money on. The foot clinic letter is still being given to people when they show up, and it does seem to be getting some responses. So that's good. Transportation. If you all want to say something about this item, don't let me just go on to the next one. Okay, this transportation is something that I was thinking about. Well, two things. One is the idea of getting out more information about the bus connection. And when I found out that very few people are actually signed up for Town Announce, that's discouraging. Because I thought of that as a way to get out information. I'm still hoping I need to focus on getting a list of the people who don't have broadband, so that we can send a regular snail mail to them. And I'm wondering if we should advertise on Shoots, whatever, the Shutesbury, etc. email list.
For the transportation?
Sorry?
For the transportation?
Yeah, about the opportunity for the bus connection, the on-demand service. We have not in the past. We've limited ourselves to Town Announce because it's town business. But I don't think there's any reason why we couldn't. What is it? The Shoots
Next door.
Next door. Thank you very much. There's no reason why we couldn't put up an announcement on Town Next Door, right?
I don't see why not.
The original this is Janice speaking. The original rationale from Becky and maybe others, maybe the select board, I don't know, is that Next Door Shutesbury has commercial information on it and advertisements from elsewhere.
Okay.
And that we're not supposed to use it as a town. And I don't know if I even agree with that, but that's a background that I have.
Well, I do know that like Waste Management uses it, and the police department use it. So I do know that some town governments use it. So I don't know.
Well, Janice, I appreciate, because I didn't have any recollection of the history. I appreciate your knowledge of the history because it sounds as though I ought to ask.
It started off without advertisements.
Yeah.
It changed, and that's when the boom came down, from whom, I don't know. I wasn't part of the Council on Aging then.
Okay.
But the times are changing, so
Yeah. Well, the challenge is to communicate with the community, and the community does have a tendency to pay attention to next door, I think.
Mhm.
Since they don't seem to pay a lot of attention to town announce. Okay, so that's one issue. Transportation and getting information about it out in various ways. The other thing about transportation is giving rides other than med rides. And I don't know why the COA decided only to do med rides and not to make rides available for other causes. But the two things have come up. One is if we get this grant, different towns will have different programming. So the idea would be people will need to go to other towns to attend programs. And the thought of the person who was a Barbara Bodson was that they could use Village Neighbors transportation, which is for any place that people need to go for social, for shopping, for social, for medical, not just for medical. The big problem here is that Village Neighbors rides are supposed to only go to people who are members of Village Neighbors. And it's true that Village Neighbors doesn't cost anything to join, but somehow it's a little bit, to me, a little awkward to tell people, well, you have to be a Village Neighbors member to get their service. Also, they have to be Corey checked. Now, for us, the drivers of med rides had to be Corey checked, but the passengers did not. But apparently the rule is for Village Neighbors that to use transportation, maybe to use, I don't know how many of their services, whether it's true for membership, but it's certainly true for rides, the passengers have to be Corey checked too. And I don't want to be in a situation of telling people, if you want a free ride, you have to be Corey checked.
Right.
So that made me wonder if we could talk to our drivers who used to do med rides and see if they might be interested in doing local rides, either to another of the 4 towns, or, I think we might get more business at community lunch if we could advertise, you can have a free ride if you call this number.
Right.
So I'm hoping that we'll talk about, so is it okay if I go ahead and talk to the former med ride drivers and see if any of them will be interested in?
Who did the med rides?
Well, I think, I'm having senior moments about some of the people who did, one of them was Andy Fairfield, who's no longer alive. Oh boy, one of them is a person whose face I'm seeing, but whose name is escaping me. Former select board member, very active in town. You all would know exactly who I'm thinking of if I could think of her name.
I was just curious, that's all.
I think there were a handful.
Mm-hmm.
I never had anything much to do with it. Linda ran it, but I think between 4 and 6 people drove.
Oh, wow.
And they had regular passengers in
Mm-hmm.
cases, and unfortunately, we didn't start up med rides again is because several of the regular passengers died. Wasn't the call for it anymore.
Right.
So I can probably get a list.
was it Elaine?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Elaine was pretty much in charge, so I thought I would ask Elaine. So is that okay if I would move on that?
I agree with that.
Okay.
Ray agrees.
Oh, thank you. Do you think I need a motion to do that? I don't think so. Not at this point. We're just exploring the option. Okay.
Travis,
So the sewer line connection, Janice, that's there.
Yeah, I finally made voice contact with Brenda Fletcher, who is a volunteer with LifePath, and putting together this directory. I must have spent 10 phone calls and emails and not getting anywhere. And she finally spoke to me and said she was running way behind in this directory of different councils on aging and stuff. And ours referred to the former mid-ride program, and that was all. And I said, well, we're doing a lot more now, but I couldn't figure out how much she wanted. So she said, so some towns are sending in a lot, some are only saying a little. I haven't heard it all from anybody. She said, write it up as a Word doc and email it to me, because I couldn't figure out the computer thing wasn't working. So I emailed it to her, and I followed up saying, let me know that you got this, because there seems to be some flaky communication systems there. And I have not heard. I sent her basically what's on our website about what we do that makes us special, not the generic programs of, but like the community lunch and the foot clinic. And I could send it all to you, but I wanted to make sure she had it. And I don't know that she has.
Oh, gee.
She has not responded to my saying, please confirm for me that you received this. We have a meeting tonight. And I heard nothing.
Well, it sounds like she's sort of overwhelmed.
I think she is. And she says she gets like 300 emails a day from different towns.
Oh,
So I don't have a good answer for you.
but you're making progress.
Well, at least I discovered, I thought she was another example of someone who had left and they hadn't updated the phone directory or the email.
Mm.
So it was going into a void. And so I called somebody else at LifePath and I said, does she exist? And does the Silver Line exist? You cannot find the Silver Line on their website. And after a while, Brenda called me and we had a pleasant conversation. And but I haven't had have an acknowledgement that she actually received what I sent her. So
Well,
that's my report.
yeah, well, you have made progress, and it sounds like sooner or later she's going to make the corrections and give correct information is what we're doing. Which
I
is
sort of vaguely remember something about, originally her deadline was January 16th. Basically, she gave people a week to update. And I mentioned that we were past the deadline. She says, don't worry, we're talking April at this point. So
yeah, I'm smiling because I realized when I looked at the document that came from EEO age, that the original deadline was the middle of January for them wanting the survey responses, but now they've changed it to end of March. So, people have plans and then they get overloaded and dates change. And that sounds like that's happening too. Incidentally, did you all get copies of the documents from Adam Frank at EEO Age? Because I can send it to you. I found reading the report from fiscal year 23 pretty interesting, and you might like to see it too. It's not that long.
I don't remember seeing that, but I might have.
Okay, well, I'll send it to you again.
All right.
Okay, what am I doing? I've got too much stuff going on here. Just lost my notes. I think that we ought to skip over membership recruitment because that's mostly going to be a matter of Mary Jo. I asked Mary Jo, I don't know if I sent copies of it to you all. I CC'd you all. I asked her to tell a little bit about herself and her interest in this organization. Okay, so I did. So she said, so she's preparing that. And I told her that she should expect some questions and that she might get asked why she's interested in COA.
How did you know how she came upon? Did she join herself, or did somebody ask her? I'm just curious.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know if she just saw it and wanted to join, or if somebody, like you
Oh,
asked
I
her.
go to her occasionally for a massage. And
Oh, okay.
I was seeing I was getting a massage. I asked her. I think I was talking about the workload on COA.
Right.
Interested in joining. So thinking about it. So we ought to deal with unanticipated business, and the main unanticipated business is the police chief's request, and everybody has seen that. So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I'd like to do it for them. I think it'd be good to be part of that, especially when it goes to just for seniors,
Yes.
And I see them all the time down there filling buckets for people. It's great, actually.
Do you?
Yeah, when I go by, I'll see them backed up and filling buckets.
Oh,
And
neat.
especially after this last storm, I mean, you can barely walk in your driveway. So, yeah. And I do know personally a few people that get them too, and they're very, very prompt and a really big help for people.
Good. I actually want to join the group that gets them because I have a very tricky top of my driveway. Okay, so do we have a motion that we're talking about $100, right? $5, 20 buckets at $5 a piece.
Yes.
Correct.
So do we have a motion that we would give the police chief for her Sand for Seniors project $100 just to buy 20 buckets?
I put out a motion to provide the donation for the police chief to have 20 buckets at $5 a piece for Sand for Seniors.
Gray seconds.
Thank you. Both.
So my question is, do we, if we send them the money, or do we go and buy them ourselves and get reimbursed for it? I don't know how long it will take for the warrant to go through and to get them the money if they need it now, is what I'm thinking.
Well, it would take us some time to get reimbursed too.
Right.
Paying
But
for it.
I wouldn't mind going and buying them and waiting to be reimbursed, is what I'm saying.
They may have money in their budget to buy them and would like
Okay.
to reimburse. I mean, she didn't ask us to buy them.
Right.
She
I
asked,
just, I just don't want them to wait too long if they need them now, is what I'm thinking. Or I'm sure that, you know, I don't know.
well,
I just don't want to have happen like with the other warrant and you know, Foot Care by Nurses waited 2 months.
yeah. Well, we're going to have to be sure Gail responds faster to requests for warrants, I think.
Yes, yeah.
Um, you know,
But maybe if it's an inner town thing, that might be quicker than an out of town thing. I don't know.
yes, it's going from one office to another.
Right. Maybe if I put in a note saying that it's urgent for them to get them the warrant done or the money quickly so they can get the sand for seniors.
I'm thinking, I mean, I would go down and pay my own money and get reimbursed, but I don't want to deal with 20 buckets.
Right.
I think it'd be easier. I mean, the police department is used to doing this. So
Right.
it'd be something that they're already doing. I would, you know, if you want to, we could ask her, would you like us to get a warrant for you to spend the $100 on your 20 buckets, or do you want us to buy the buckets and be reimbursed?
Okay.
I think it's cleaner to let them do the buck purchasing.
Okay. So let's, what I'll do is I'll fill out the warrant tonight. And I'll just tell her that it's urgent that the police department gets this money so they can replenish their buckets for sand for seniors. And
Yeah,
then hopefully she'll be right on it.
yes, especially given the weather.
Yes. And if we get any more ice,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Well, let's put in a note saying that it's urgent for the, you know, this donation to go through quickly as possible. So that the seniors in town can get their buckets of sand quicker.
yeah.
And I'll put it in tonight before I go to bed.
Okay. And if it's okay, I'm going to send the chief a notice saying that we approved her money. And there's
Okay.
no warrant coming.
Okay.
I wrote a little note. I guess, did I send it to everybody, that thanking her for for sending in the proposal and for correcting it with Janice's note. And said I would let her know after the meeting.
Yeah, when I saw the 20 for $5, I thought, but that's really cheap.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I then went to the Home Depot website and looked at the buckets, and you can get 20 5-gallon buckets, the orange kind, for $3.39 or something. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is cheaper than what she's citing, but she said around 5, and maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't want to get into the weeds, but I thought, are they getting them delivered to Shutesbury? Or, you know, is there some tax? There shouldn't be, I would think, but I don't know.
I don't know. I would think no tax on a town purchase.
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's always something that's happening in the cemetery commission when Walter purchases stuff. He's always telling us no tax because this is a town purchase. Well, you know, so she's guesstimating, and if there's a little extra for an extra bucket or two, that's fine with me.
Right. I agree.
Okay. So I think we have gotten through our regular business and we are waiting for Mary Jo to be able to get here. Does anybody have anything else they want to bring up for discussion tonight or in the future?
I don't think so.
I've been collecting mail, but none of it is really terribly exciting. One of them is a notice about our environmentally preferred product purchasing policy, which is quite a name. And since we don't do that much purchasing, I would hope that the the chief is aware of our environmentally preferred product purchasing policy.
Oh, I wanted to ask who's doing the potluck. I heard that Sally fell down and broke an arm or a leg,
Yeah, Sally broke her hip.
her hip.
Well, she was out of it. She was still in Maine recovering from surgery last time. And she supposedly sent Deborah O'Brien, and I've been helping her.
Mhm.
Supposedly sent Deborah O'Brien to help me, but she didn't show up. So I did it. And it wasn't that big a deal to do it as one person. It's just more fun to do it with somebody else.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, I need to Sally puts the announcement on the sandwich board, and I need to stop off at Sally's and get the letters and numbers to change the sandwich board to have the correct date. So it'll be coming up. Yeah.
Well, I hope he recovers quickly. That's no fun.
Yeah, but it's the first of the month comes up awfully fast, especially, if you have monthly calendar pages, you don't really necessarily pay a lot to what's going on at the beginning of the next month. And
Right.
Right.
yeah.
I'm gonna take a quick break before Mary Jo gets here.
Sure.
Just run to the potty. I'll be back in a minute.
Sounds good. I won't bug you by asking you personal information, Janice.
I was wondering if I should volunteer it since we're kind of on a break.
Yeah.
I
Also,
actually had some good news today. I didn't expect.
hang on. We recorded.
Oh, never mind.
And
I'm still
wait a second. Let me see if I can. I don't know if we are because we're on the particular Zoom link that we're on. We don't share with the Board of Health, and they're, I think, the group that's coming on at 7. So they should be on a different Zoom. So I just turned recording on again, which you probably saw. So I'm thinking, I don't know what you think, but I'm thinking we should reschedule Mary Jo for next month.
Yeah,
Probably.
Ray agrees.
And, okay, so where's my calendar so I know what the second Wednesday is next month?
One moment, and I'll be right with you. The second Wednesday of March is March, oops. The 12th.
Okay. So shall we meet again on March 12th at 5:30? Is this an okay time and date for you, Jessica?
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for giving us all this time, since I'm sure that you've got plenty to do at home.
Well, I have to go. Actually, I go to work after I leave here.
Do
I,
you?
I take care of an elderly lady in Hadley. I get her all set up to go to bed, get her washed up in her nightgown, and every night, 7 days a week, I go down there and do that. So,
How long does it take?
I mean, usually it only takes about maybe 20 minutes, but we watch a game show with her. We either watch Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy and together, and then I get her ready for bed. She likes the company too.
That's nice. I'm sure
So
she really appreciates that.
she does. She does.
Yeah.
But she's 97 and she still lives alone.
Wow.
So we're gonna try to keep her there as long as we can.
Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. So thank you all very much for hanging in. And I think we will adjourn the meeting at 6:52, if that's okay with everybody.
Good with me.
Oh, I suppose we have to have a motion to adjourn. Sorry. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Great.
Thank you, Janice. And then we have a second. I'll second it. And a vote? Janice?
Ray, I.
Make peace, I.
Millinger, aye. Okay, we are officially closed. Thank you very much, Lee.
Thank you. Stay warm, guys.
Yeah,